One family, one people, one planet, one love. One family, one people, one planet, one love.
Hello, and welcome to a wonderful SoulCall Sunday. Happy to be with you here again. This month's theme about our moving through life as a conversation is something that I found really wonderful and fascinating. I love the idea of thinking about my entire life as a conversation. What are the veins and arteries of this life and how it moves between us and the world, our individual self and the world? We talked about in the description, bearing witness to the truth of living reveals the mysteries of life. And what I read into that was the idea of bearing witness to the truth of living is being present with what actually is, flowing with life, flowing in a conversation with life. So the way I started to think about this was, if I'm having a conversation with life, what would this conversation be like? Listening is a big part of a conversation. Paying attention. So I thought about it in terms of observing, feeling, and responding to what is in life. I'm becoming less and less a fan of the plan and more a fan of listening for the next step. The current situation that we are in this human race, on this place we call the earth, is not something we could have known. I guess there were a few very wise sages who had predicted something like this pandemic, and even something like the civil unrest that we're experiencing right now, the tipping point of the many times that African American people have been abused. But this current situation was not known to me. So as I'm in it, what is my conversation with life? I observe what's happening. I observed with the pandemic how people responded in an individual way, how I responded, what it felt like to be kept inside, what it felt like to follow rules, what it felt like to be masked going out, what it felt like not to go to major events with people. So I observed that. And then I felt deeply what was happening in me so that I could respond. I observed what's happening, I felt it, and I responded. And this is happening for me with this situation, with the recent death of George Floyd, who is in a long line of people who sadly share the legacy of violence against African American people. So the observation was probably the most challenging part. Observing his death, feeling what I saw. And then the response has come in stages. This conversation with life, given this particular situation, continues to evolve. I am continually responding, staying in the river of life, staying in what's happening. And my first response was disbelief, shock, sadness, fear, rage, and moving through all those emotions. And even if those are revisited sometimes, the evolution of my response has become to notice and observe and feel what is happening as a result. So in my neighborhood, I wrote a text to folks. We have a shared platform. And I said, I'm feeling a little alone with this situation. I'm in a neighborhood where there aren't many people who look like me. And if you're feeling something about this recent murder, please just tie a ribbon to the tree in front of our house. And the tree in front of our house is flowing with ribbon. Then the city of St. Pete, where I live in St. Petersburg, Florida, made a proclamation that said the city is going to recognize this tragedy by asking people at 8 o'clock every evening to go out and be quiet in honor of the 8 minutes and 46 seconds that George Floyd's neck was under that knee. And my neighbors have been showing up for this, and we're showing up together. We're distanced, but we're coming out at the same time at 8 p.m. And the silence has beauty and what we might call a terrible beauty in it, because we are all feeling that feeling of life leaving. And at the end of it, I ring a bowl so they can hear the sound of the completion of that time. And then we come a tiny bit closer together, and I sing into the circle something that calls me. And the first time, the first day of the 8 days that we're doing this, surprising to me, the song that came in was America the Beautiful. God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. I sang through that song like a prayer. Then it came to me that each night that we did this ritual, there was a song that would come as the prayer. And the neighbors began to look forward to what was going to be the closure, the sung version. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. At some point I sang that. Imagine there's no heaven. So this conversation with life has evolved. What I observed was so difficult at first. What I felt challenges me, but my response continues to evolve. This current situation pushes things off the table and makes me look at the current state of my life and the current state of the life of my community. This current situation of the pandemic and of the civil unrest pushes some things out of the frame and focuses in on what is mine to do. And as I think more and more about it and feel more and more into it and stay in the flow of life and in conversation with life, I notice that I feel love over the woe. Flow, F-L-O-W. I feel love over the woe. And then I feel love overflow. I feel love over the worry. Feel love over worry. Flow, F-L-O-W. And then I feel love overflow. So I stay in conversation with life in each moment without needing to know what is next, but observing and feeling and responding with love. Thank you for being here and for spending time.
Traveling down life's highway, full of goodness and grace. I wake up every morning with a smile upon my face, 'cause I know everything I need to know, but I know there's still more to know. So I don't say no, let spirit flow, and let it continue to grow, and know that I feel all filled with love and light. Said I feel alright, flowing with the river of light. Said I feel alright right now, 'cause I'm on the love and light. Said I feel alright right now, 'cause I'm on with love and light. I feel alright. Said I feel alright in every part of my life. I feel alright now. I said I feel alright in every part of my life. I feel alright. I said I feel alright in every part of my life. I feel alright when I'm moving with the river. Oh, life is so good. Oh, when I'm flowing with the river of life. That's the way it is.
My name is Lisa Ferrero. I'm the founder and spiritual director of SoulCall Ministries. Thank you, Reverend Christie, for your powerful message as always, and for the fantastic music, Reverend Andy, so soul-stirring. We welcome you each week here at SoulCall Sundays and remind you that your contributions help us keep this ministry going and create a conscious global community. No amount is too big or too small, so you can send us your donations at soulcallministries.org/donate. Interested in what we're doing in the world, you could sign up for our newsletter and be kept apprised of all the fabulous things we are doing to create this consciousness, to lift the spirits of others as we move through this time of great shift and change, this awakening. You could be part of that, and we appreciate your contributions very much. Find out about classes coming up later in the summer, which classes are happening now. You might be able to jump in on Catching the Thread. We're just starting that one. And go to events and classes, and please subscribe to us on YouTube and Facebook. Join us at SoulCall Ministries on YouTube and SoulCall Ministries page on Facebook, and share us with your friends. We sure appreciate it. Next week, we welcome a very, very special guest for Father's Day. The world-renowned violinist, violist, conductor, and pedagogue, Mr. Pinchas Zuckerman is with us. That's what I said, Pinchas Zuckerman. What? Yeah, so join us for a very special Soul Call Sunday as Pinchas Zuckerman shares his beautiful heart and the language of his heart as music, as spirit. It's really a fantastic interview. I'm so honored and privileged to get to sit with him. So we're going to share that with you next week. And until then, know that you are loved and just take one step at a time with presence, knowing that we are always held in the hands of the beloved. Peace and many blessings.
One people, one man, one love, one family, one people, one plan.